Anglo-Italian Count Lorenzo Bedini was practically born clutching a flask of Chianti. Having spent the past 14 years working in an increasingly generic wine market, he has decided that now is the time to gamble everything upon a long-held ambition: to become an independent importer extraordinaire. His mission: to bring exotic curios to an increasingly demanding consumer.
What you have to remember about wine, or the wine business, is that they do say the only way to make a small fortune out of wine is to start with a big one. People assume that if you have a house like that, you're absolutely loaded, and actually we never were, I suppose, because we had a house like that and it ate up whatever was going. It obviously no longer belongs to us. I just made a joke about being nouveau pauvre.
From 50 rooms to just one bedroom, Lorenzo now lives in a converted barn on the fringe of his family's former estate. He is preparing to host tonight's wine tasting.
Wine tastings are not a particularly formal occasion, but I tend to wear the same suit so that people remember which one I am.
Lorenzo sets off to the tasting in his much-loved but cantankerous classic red Volvo.
Now you want to eat my shoe?
We're going to a place called Bedford Street, which is in Norwich, as opposed to Norwich Street, which is in Bedford. And there's a restaurant, wine bar there called Bedford's. And they have a crypt, which entirely appropriately is given over occasionally to my wine tastings. So, an evening of wines from the crypt.
Lorenzo is confident that his boot full of samples will entice his discerning clients into placing their orders.
Va bene. Wick these open. Another important thing to remember, particularly about white wines, is that good white wines need to breathe just like red wines. They need a certain amount of time to open out, which is why sometimes you buy a very expensive bottle of white wine, whip the cork out, take a mouthful and think, well, what have I just spent 25 quid on? If you wait half an hour or so, it'll turn into something quite good. When tasting wine, you swirl it round and hold it up to the light, and you'll find little ridges of glutinous liquid forming down the side of the glass. And those are affectionately termed legs. The longer the legs, the higher the alcohol volume, because alcohol is more viscous than water.
Lorenzo, in your estimation, to the experience, you prefer long legs?
I take them as I find them, you know. This is head office, this is dining room, bedroom, everything.
Playing it strictly by the book, Lorenzo encounters an unenviable barrage of bureaucracy.
This is a form that's sent to you by the Occasional Importers Office, or the National Occasional Importers Office, also known as NOIC, who hang out in Liverpool, a place called Queen's Dock, although they sound very butch over the phone. Now, it looks fairly simple and straightforward, but the first thing about this form is you ring up, you ask them to send it to you, and when it arrives, you have a month in which to either send it back, saying, I've changed my mind, I'm not doing it, or to fill it out and send it off. But they have to have it back in one way or another within a month, because if they don't ask you to send it back, they don't ask you what's happened to it. They turn up looking for it. It's a sort of high security document, apparently. You have to put in exactly how much alcohol you're bringing into the country. Not wine or alcoholic beverage, but actual alcohol. If you took all the alcohol out of the wine, how much would it come to? Which is ridiculous because the duty is the same on wine, whether it's 5% or 15%. The system is so confusing and so Kafkaesque that you're bound to, any normal person would make a mistake. Let's put it that way. You'd have to have a mind like a triple helix to not make a mistake on one of these forms somewhere.
Orders placed, forms filed and bags packed. Lorenzo embarks on a journey of people, places, food and friendship. One man's struggle to overcome the paper mountain of international bureaucracy and sometimes shaky international relations to discover his own personal holy grail and to give to the British public a true taste of Europe.
I know this is going to sound very pretentious, but it really does smell like the breeze coming off a river. It smells of reeds and rushes and certainly in a nice way, it's not a matter of river mud.